Howdy folks, this video is going to be the next video in my little series on growing an inexpensive garden on a budget in your own soil using the Mittleider method. I bought everything that I need to mix up another batch of pre-plant and the weekly feed, and everything that you need I've actually got laid out here. When I mix up my pre-plant and weekly feed, I do typically do it in a wheelbarrow. But in case folks don't have a wheelbarrow, I'm going to show you how I do it with or how it can be done with a sheet or even a tarp. All right, let's talk about what I've actually got laid out here. I have bought everything that I'm going to need, and I've got triple 13 fertilizer. Anything from a triple 13, a 15, a 16, or a 17 will work. To go with the triple 13 in our weekly feed, we're going to add Epsom salt, and we're going to add the micronutrients, which are there. I have bought 50 pounds of the triple 13, but I'm only going to mix up 25 pounds of it. And the reason for that is the Epsom salt that we add is hygroscopic. And what that essentially means is it draws moisture out of the air. And the longer your weekly feed sits in your bucket, it's going to draw in more moisture. I have tried a lot of things. The instructions that you get with your micronutrients recommend that you add perlite. The perlite does help, but it's not going to keep the moisture out entirely. So I have started mixing my weekly feed in 25-pound batches. And by doing it that way, there's not a big bunch of the weekly feed sitting around to get to be an absolute soppy mess. And when I mean soppy mess, it is there's liquid in the bottom of the bucket. It gets pretty nasty if it sits for too long. I have tried a gamma lid, and you can see a gamma lid on the top of my bucket back there. That helps, but that will not stop the moisture from getting in there. I truly recommend mixing up a 25-pound batch. Epsom salt, the micronutrients, and perlite is what I'm going to put in the weekly feed. When we do the pre-plant, I'm using lime, and I'm using lime because I have more than 20 inches of annual rainfall. If you have less than 20 inches, you're going to want gypsum. You're going to also use Epsom salt in your pre-plant, and you're going to use borax. And I've got a price list here for all of these things. The borax I've had for a couple of years, but I did look it up and kind of get an idea for you of what everything's going to cost. The 50-pound bag of triple 13 fertilizer was $16.25. The 40-pound bag of lime was $5.45. The 8 pounds of Epsom salt that I will need to go with 50 pounds of fertilizer, and again, I'm only going to use half of that Epsom salt today because I'm only going to use 25 of the 50 pounds of my fertilizer. But 8 pounds of Epsom salt from Walmart was $5.50. And let me say, when you're getting the Epsom salt, don't get the stuff that has the fancy scents in it. Don't get the eucalyptus. Don't get any additives other than pure magnesium sulfate. Oh, it's not pure, but you understand what I mean. Don't have fancy, nice smelling additives in your Epsom salt. The borax, and it is in the laundry detergent aisle at Walmart. It was $4 for the box. And you're only going to use a few ounces of that, so it's going to last you for years. The perlite, the smaller bag, I have a large bag of perlite, but a smaller bag of perlite, which would be adequate, is $3.50. Your micronutrients that you need, and you're going to have to get those from the Grow Food website, 2 10-ounce packets, and you need 2 of them to fully mix 50 pounds of your fertilizer. One 10-ounce packet for every 25 pounds of fertilizer. But those are $13.95. For the pre-plant, you're going to need a little bit of extra Epsom salt. You're going to need a pound of it for every 20 pounds of lime. So they have 1 pound containers of Epsom salt at Walmart that are also available for 98 cents each. If you total all of that up, you're looking at about $56. Now, something that I did not add, but you're going to need is some type of a scale. You're going to need a digital scale that you can measure ounces in. And I have added the Mittleider gardening course book here, but again, you can download the first 7 lessons that discuss what we're getting ready to do here for free from growfood.com/soil. And you can download that PDF there, and it will have all the instructions for mixing all these things up on your own. I did look at the price of the digital scale. We had one, so I didn't need to buy one. Walmart has a El Cheapo digital scale with an 11-pound capacity, but the El Cheapo Walmart digital scale was $10. And it has, again, an 11-pound capacity. You can get a larger capacity scale, but it's going to be more money. And I don't have a thrift store here locally to me. I live in a pretty small community, but I'd be willing to bet that something like that you could pick up at a thrift store and not put a whole lot of money into it. I also did not add the cost of a bucket because, well, most people have got them laying around. And if you don't, they're $3 to $4 at Walmart, and you can see from the blue that's a Walmart bucket that I'm using there for my weekly feed. Now, in the interest of trying to break this down for a series and so that people can search for what they're actually looking for, I'm going to do another video that's going to be followed closely behind this one, that's going to be actually measuring out all the ingredients for the weekly feed, mixing it up and putting it in a bucket, and then I'll do another one for the pre-plant. I always neglect to do this during my videos, but if you have any questions or there's something that you would like to see, let me know. I'm trying to come up with things that I think that people would want to see or they're interested in, but if there's something that I haven't covered, just let me know and I'll see what I can do.